Ladies and gentlemen, in the afternoon of June 23rd, the Standing Board of Provincial People Council held a monitoring session for the Provincial People Committee on the settlement of voter petition and recommendations of the committees the Province People Council. Mr. Nguyễn Thành Tâm, Secretary of the Provincial Party Committee, Chairman of the Provincial People Council, chaired the working session. On the side of the supervised units, there was Mr. Vũ Đức Trong, Standing Vice Chairman of the Provincial People Committee.
According to the report of the Provincial Appeals Committee, through the meetings with voters before and after the sixth session, the Provincial Appeals Council has recorded 92 petitions of voters under the jurisdiction of the province to consider and settle, in which 22 petitions were answered for clarification, accounting for 23.91%. 23 petitions were completely resolved, accounting for 25%. The remaining 47 recommendations were answered, and the results are being monitored. Through monitoring, the majority of opinions and recommendations of voters have been focused on directing and urging departments, branches, and localities to coordinate and resolve effectively. The quality of the content of the response to voters' petitions is guaranteed to be concise. Some of the backlog recommendations have been resolved definitely and have been recognized and agreed upon by delegates of the Provincial Appeals Council and voters. The Standing Board of the Provincial Appeals Council also suggested that the Provincial Appeals Committee should continue to monitor and direct the departments, branches, and district-level appeals committees to focus on solving unresolved recommendations. The Appeals Committee of TayNinhTV has just held a contest to learn about Ho Chi Minh's ideology on patriotic emulation and commendation work, administrative reform, and commending advanced examples in 2023. The contest, with the participation of 10 teams from agencies and units in the emulation blocks of the City Appeals Committee, the teams went through 2 parts, including multiple choice and theoretical competition, with contents related to propaganda, organization emulation movements, commendation and administrative reform work, role singing, dancing, chanting, skits. At the end of the competition, the joint competition team of the Finance Planning Department, the Justice Department, the Culture Information Department, and TayNinhTV Land Development Center excellently won the first prize.
In the morning of June 23rd, the Organizing Committee of the Provincial Party Committee held a briefing on the work of organizing the Provincial Party building in the first 6 months of 2023. Ms. Nguyễn Thị Yên Mai, head of the Organizing Department of the Provincial Party Committee, shared the conference.
In the first 6 months of 2023, the organization departments of party committees at all levels closely followed the leadership and direction of the standing department of the party committee, actively advised and organized the effective implementation of the tasks, of which 54 cases were advised to rotate, mobilize, and reappoint. The work of developing new party members in association with strengthening the management of party members and improving the quality of party members is concerned. In the first 6 months of the year, the whole province admitted 390 party members, reaching over 33% of the resolution. At the conference, the delegates discussed the achieved results and limitations in party building work, creation of sources to develop party members. The implementation of Project Number 3 of the Provincial Party Committee, organizational work of staff, protecting internal politics. The conference also set out key tasks and solutions in the last 6 months of the year.
Turn to other news. On June 22nd, the National Assembly passed the amended law on electronic transaction consisting of 7 chapters and 54 articles, with many new points compared to the current law. This law also specifically displays prohibited acts in electronic transaction.
Accordingly, the prohibited acts in electronic transactions include taking advantage of e-transactions to infringe upon national interests, ethnic groups, national security, social order and safety, public interest, lawful rights and interests of agencies and organizations, individuals, illegally obstructing and preventing the creation, sending, receiving, and storage of data messages or other acts aimed at sabotaging the information system serving electronic transactions, illegally collecting, providing, using, disclosing, displaying, distributing, and trading data messages, delete, destroy, forge, copy, falsify, illegally move part or the whole data message, creating data messages to commit illegal acts, fraud, forgery, appropriation, or illegal use of electronic transaction accounts, electronic certificates, electronic signature certificates, electronic signatures, obstructing the choice of performing electronic transaction other as prohibited by law.
In the morning of June 23rd, the Labour Federation of the province held a conference to review the two-year implementation of the Politburo Conclusion No. 01 on continuing to implement Directive No. 05 on promoting learning and following Ho Chi Minh ideology, morality and style in employees. Mr. Trương Nhật Quang, head of the Bronzo Party Committee Mass Mobilization Department, attended and delivered a speech.
In the past 2 years, the Provincial Labour Federation, trade unions and employees in the whole province have seriously implemented the full course and annual special subjects, integrating into the professional tasks of the agencies, units, enterprises, making studying and following Ho Chi Minh's ideology, morality and style a voluntary and regular work of each level of trade unions, union members, workers, public employees and laborers, step by step building the image of trade union officials, union members and workers with a sense of responsibility, work capacity, and a close relationship with the movement's reality. Mr. Trương Nhật Quang acknowledged and appreciated the contributions of officials, civil servants, public employees, laborers, workers, and the trade union system at all levels, which have made many positive contributions to the socio-economic development of the province. In the coming time, the Standing Board of the Provincial Labour Federation should continue to maintain and promote well the strength and achieve results. At the same time, launch and deploy more emulation movements to characterize conclusion number 1 of the Politburo. On this occasion, the General Federation of Labour awarded the place leading the emulation movement to grassroots trade union of Pohung Vietnam Company Limited, awarded certificates of merit to 11 collectors and 12 individuals with outstanding achievements in trade union activities in 2022 and towards each year. In addition, 26 collectors and 15 individuals were also rewarded with outstanding examples of good implementation of conclusion number 1 of the Politburo. Also on June 23rd, the Labour Federation of Tây Ninh Province held a summary of the 2023 Workers' Month, which was implemented by trade unions at all levels in the province, with many practical activities focusing mainly on the care of material and spiritual life, protection of legitimate rights and interests of union members and workers, with a total economic value of nearly 33 billion Vietnam dong. At the closing ceremony, the Provincial Labour Federation rewarded 35 collectors and 12 individuals with outstanding achievements in the Workers' Month of 2023. Over the past time, many voters in Bảo Năng Commune, Dung Châu District have frequently petitioned the authorities to relocate the medium voltage power line from K13 bridge to near Ông Tà Temple in Ninh Bình Hamlet because more than 20 households are living under medium voltage power lines, causing uncertainty. At the time of investing in the medium voltage power line along DT7H1 due to cost savings and string light launch, the construction unit built the power line going deep into Pierce Lane, then agricultural land located outside the road traffic planning of DT7H1 road. Currently, the land area in this area is planned as residential land. There are more than 20 households. People living under the power lines cannot build or renovate housing works because they are located in the safety corridor of the power grid. TayNin Power Company has coordinated with the locality and related units to survey the current status of the electricity grid in the proposed constituency. At the same time, it is agreed that the solution is that TayNin Power Company will allocate capital to renovate the power grid by increasing the height of the existing line to about 2 meters and replacing the braid conductor with a suited cable. Currently, it has approved the approach treatment plan with a total cost of over 1.3 billion Vietnam dong and has reached the capital for implementation expected to be completed in December. After 2 days with many exciting and meaningful activities, the 12th Southwest Family Festival in 2023, hosted by TayNin Province, has officially closed. This year's festival, with the participation of 18 families from 6 provinces in the Southwest cluster. In general, families have carefully prepared content and programs to participate in the festival, brought to the festival the competitions and exchanges in a joyful, vibrant, and meaningful atmosphere. At the end of the festival, the organization committee awarded the first prize of the whole delegation to Bình Phước Province. TayNin Province team won the second prize, and Bình Dương Province team won the third prize. In addition, the organization committee also awarded prizes to the winning teams in 2 contests of the festival.
The audience monitor and aspirations of young people about mechanism and policy for young people to participate in economic, cultural, and social development, national security, and defense were raised by union members and youth of the province at a dialogue with chairman of the Rongsor People Committee Nguyễn Thanh Ngọc and leaders of Rongsor Department and Sector. Through the dialogue, many difficulties and problems of young people were recognized and solved, especially those related to youth development policies in the current period.
The dialogue took place in the morning of June 23rd in the form of face-to-face combined with online. Youth union members and youth of the province have been informed about the province's socio-economic development in recent years. The development orientations of the province in the coming time, especially orientations, mechanisms, and policies related to youth. Through the dialogue, it helps youth union members understand the orientations as well as the mechanisms and policies that the Provincial Committee has been taking care of youth of the province. From a dialogue like this, it has created an additional motivation as well as confidence for the youth union members of the province so that they can promote their young strength, strive, build, and defend the fatherland. Through the working session, 9 opinions of union members and young people on issues of life were mentioned. The opinions and recommendations of the youth have been discussed and answered satisfactorily by leaders of provincial departments and agencies. With today's dialogue, a lot of information was shared by the leaders of the provincial committee and leaders of departments and agencies with the youth union members of the province. The information shared by the chairman of the provincial committee, in addition to answering the youth questions, he also oriented and suggested for them to do and reaffirm the role of youth in the current period. And every young person must know how to promote their own inner strength. Concluding the dialogue, Chairman of the Provincial Appeals Committee Nguyễn Thanh Ngọc suggested that on levels of party committees, authorities and youth union organizations should continue to pay attention to strengthen propaganda and education in many forms so that young people can understand more deeply about the policies and guidelines of the party. Government at all levels, heads of the departments and agencies, need to strengthen direct dialogue with union members and young people to promptly grasp their legitimate thoughts and aspirations. In particular, pay attention to vocational training and job creation for young people, especially union members and young people in disadvantaged areas and border areas. Mr. Nguyễn Thanh Ngọc also wished that the youth of the province would continue to promote the spirit of leading, volunteerism, and enthusiasm of the youth, constantly rise up, seize new opportunities, contribute to the construction of the countryside, TayNin is getting richer and more beautiful.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's all for today TTV News. Thank you for watching and see you next time.